She hid the baby Bigfoot in her cabin, but the one who came for it wasn't its mother. The snowstorm ended 3 days ago, but the wind still sounded like it was looking for someone. Clara Weston hadn't meant to find the baby. She'd been walking the ridge, searching for her husband's rifle, the one the avalanche buried last winter when she heard the cry. Not human.
Run!
Not wolf. Something in between. A small, shivering sound that carried too far for lungs that small. She followed it through the birch trees, past the creek that hadn't thawed in weeks, until she saw it half buried in snow, fur matted. Fingers curled around a strip of flannel that looked too human to belong there. Its eyes were open amber, clouded, scared. The moment she touched it, the crying stopped. It looked at her the way children do when they haven't learned to fear kindness yet. Clara wrapped it in her shawl, pressed it to her chest, and whispered, "You're safe now." But the forest didn't agree. Every tree leaned inward. Every crow went silent. And somewhere beyond the ridge, a sound answered 3 short, 1 long. She froze. That rhythm. She'd heard it once before the night Elias Harrow disappeared in the storm. The same pattern he'd etched on her porch before heading into the valley. Clara turned, heart pounding. Snow started again. Light at first, then thick, hiding everything but the trail she left behind. The baby stirred, whining in its sleep. "Shh," she said. "We'll make it home." But something followed. Footsteps. Too slow for men, too heavy for deer. Matching her pace, always stopping when she did. By the time she reached the cabin, the lantern flame on her porch had gone out. The wind wasn't howling anymore. It was breathing. "Before we start," she whispered, voice shaking, "tell me where you're listening from tonight. Because if you hear a second breath while I'm talking, it's not the wind." Part 1. The Guest. The cabin groaned the way old wood does when it remembers warmth. Clara pushed the door shut with her shoulder, snow trailing behind her boots. The baby stirred in her arms, eyes half open, breath steaming through the shawl. She set it beside the stove, wrapped in flannel, and fed the fire 2 small logs. The flames caught slow, orange bleeding into blue, painting the room with the color of safety she didn't feel. For the first time since she found it, she could see the creature clearly. Its hands were almost human, fingers short and padded, palms pink and scarred with frostbite. When it moved, it made a sound between a hum and a purr. It wasn't ugly. It was wrongly beautiful, like something the world forgot how to name. Clara poured milk into a tin cup, thinned it with snow, and held it near the creature's lips. It sniffed once, then drank slow, small gulps that shook its whole body. She smiled, whispering, "That's it. Easy now." Outside, the wind shifted. The sound of branches scraping the roof turned into rhythm 3 short, 1 long. Her smile faltered. She set the cup down, crossed the room, and looked through the frostbit window. Nothing. Just the line of pines bending under weight they didn't want to carry. But she felt it, the pressure in the air, the way silence goes heavy before a storm or a prayer. The baby's hum deepened. It wasn't hungry anymore. It was listening. She backed away from the window. The floor creaked under her heels, 1 note that echoed too long. In that echo she heard a second footstep. Soft, deliberate, inside the walls. Clara grabbed the lantern, light trembling across the table. "Is someone there?" No answer, Only breathing. Not outside. Not behind. All around. The baby whimpered, small hands clutching her skirt. She forced her voice to calm. It's all right. You're safe. I won't let them. A whisper cut through her words, low, human, and close enough to brush her ear. You already let one in. She spun. The room was empty. But her own shadow wasn't where it should be. It lagged behind the movement of her arm, reaching toward the baby first as if it belonged to someone slower, older. The wind outside sighed through the chimney, turning her name into smoke. She whispered back, if you're still listening, don't breathe too loud. It's learning what we sound like. Part 2. The thing at the door. The first knock came like a mistake, soft, testing. Then again, 3 short, 1 long. Clara froze. The baby stirred, head lifting, eyes wide as coins. It made a sound low in its throat, half cry, half recognition. She whispered, no, not her, not yet. The wind pushed through the seams of the door, carrying a smell that didn't belong to winter wet bark. Metal, and something faintly sweet, like rot under pine needles. Her lantern flickered, flame bending toward the noise as if the air itself leaned to listen. The third knock wasn't polite. It scraped. Wood groaned, nails shifting, a long exhale sliding through the cracks. Then silence. Not stillness listening. Silence. Clara lifted the iron poker from beside the stove. Go. She whispered to the baby, hide. The creature crawled under the cot, small chest rising fast, the sound of its breathing swallowed by the ticking stove. She stepped toward the door, each board complaining under her weight. Who's there? A voice answered, but not through the wood. Through her walls, low, human, too calm. You took something that isn't yours. Her throat went dry. She left it. It was dying. It wasn't dying. It was choosing. She gripped the handle tighter. Her reflection in the window shook her head, out of sync with her own. The flame dimmed until only the red coil of the stove cast light. Then, from outside, something breathed against the door. Not sniffing, studying. A slow inhale that drew the cold out of the room. Frost retreated down the glass, like the night was licking it away to see in. The baby whimpered under the cot. The voice returned. Closer now, words scraping wood grain. You think you saved it? A pause, long enough to feel the heartbeat behind the words. You just taught it to hide. Something heavy moved across the porch. The latch quivered but didn't lift. A long shadow crawled beneath the doorframe, stretching toward her bare feet. It stopped at her toes, waited, then slid backward, slow, deliberate, into the dark. The quiet that followed hurt. Even her pulse sounded too loud. She sank to her knees, hand pressed to her chest, whispering, if you're still here, stay with me. Her voice trembled like the flame. Because what's waiting outside doesn't knock anymore. It learns your breathing and waits until you stop. If you're still listening, now's the time to subscribe. We're about to open that door and not everything outside wants to come in. Part 3. The imposter's voice. The wind rose again, not wild, just steady. It carried words now. Low. Familiar. The kind that make you forget to be afraid. Clara. Her name slid through the cracks like smoke. She turned toward the sound, heart tripping over itself. That voice. She hadn't heard it in months, not since the night Elias vanished in the storm. She whispered, "No. It can't be." The voice came again, softer this time, breaking at the edges like it was pushing through water. "It's me. Open the door." Her hand hovered over the latch. The iron was cold. Too cold. She backed away. "Elias, you found it, didn't you? The baby. You have to let me in." Tears burned her eyes. She wanted to believe it, wanted to run toward that sound and let faith do the rest. But something in the tone was wrong. Too calm. Too exact. It didn't breathe between words. She shook her head. "If it's you, tell me what you said before you left." A pause. Then the voice answered perfect, word for word. Mercy doesn't wait for permission. Her knees almost gave out. It was Elias, but how could it be? She reached for the latch again, and the baby shrieked one sharp cry that cracked through the room. The voice outside stopped. Silence. Then it whispered, too softly to belong to anything with lungs. That sound, it learned it from you. Her skin went cold. She stumbled back, hand clutching her chest. The voice wasn't outside anymore. It was inside the walls, whispering through the wood, circling her. "You think I'm knocking. I'm already here." The lantern flared, then died. The only light left was the fire, its glow trembling like fear trying to stay brave. Clara turned slowly, scanning the walls. No shape. No shadow. Only her reflection in the dark window, staring back, mouth moving before hers did. "Let it go. Clara," she whispered. "What are you?" "I'm what Mercy left behind." Then the reflection smiled, not hers. Behind the glass, snow moved backward, upward, swirling into a shape she couldn't name. The window fogged over. A handprint bloomed on the other side, huge. Wrong. Too high to belong to a man. The baby whimpered again, crawling out from under the cot. Its eyes glowed faint amber in the firelight. The handprint on the glass pulsed once, twice, then slowly withdrew into the dark. The wind fell silent. Only the sound of her breathing remained, matched by another, slower one from inside the wall. "If you're still listening," she whispered, "don't trust every voice that sounds like someone you loved." Part 4. The warning under the floor. The air went still again, but the house didn't. It listened. Every board under her boots hummed like a string pulled too tight. Clara backed away from the window, breath catching on her teeth. The baby pressed itself to her leg, trembling. The sound of breathing had changed lower now, deeper. Like something large had knelt just beneath the floor. She whispered, "It's all right. You're safe." The lie stuck halfway out her throat. Then came a noise she couldn't mistake. 3 short. 1 long. But this time, it wasn't outside. It came from below. She crouched, pressing her ear to the floorboards. Under the wood, something knocked again soft. Patient. Human. Then a voice, faint, muffled, strained. "Clara, not me." Her blood turned to ice. "Elias, don't open it. Not until the breathing stops." The floor went silent. Only her own heartbeat thudded in her ears. She whispered into the dark, "If you're down there, how do I know?" The answer came the way only he would say it. Mercy waits for no one, but patience saves the living. Tears spilled hot down her cheeks. It was him, buried somewhere beneath the cabin. Alive, or something close to it. She grabbed the lantern, struck the flint. The spark flared weak orange, revealing scratch marks along the baseboard symbols cut into the grain. She traced them with her fingers, 3 short lines, one long, then another mark, new, shallow run. The breath beneath the floor changed. Not human now. Wet. Slow. The kind that vibrates in your ribs before it reaches your ears. The baby hissed softly, not scared, protective. It crawled in front of her, eyes glowing faint gold. Something under the floor hissed back. Boards bowed upward, nails squealing as frost crept between the seams. Clara snatched the baby into her arms, stepping backward toward the door. "Who are you?" she shouted. A voice answered from under the floorboards. Calm. Perfect. Elias's tone down to the breath. "I told you. Mercy doesn't wait for permission." The words echoed once, then twisted. On the last syllable. The pitch cracked too deep, too wide, turning into a growl that scraped the walls. The boards bulged upward. Fingers long, black, boned wrong slid through the gaps, gripping for light. Clara screamed, kicked the lamp over the hole. Fire burst in one sharp breath. The boards shrieked as something beneath them pulled away. Smoke rose, carrying with it a sound not quite human like laughter. Dragged through snow. She clutched the baby, eyes burning, whispering, "If you're still listening, this isn't a story about fear. It's about the things mercy brings home." Part 5. The One Who Came Inside. 17. Jarwan to 21. Jarwan. The fire caught fast. Smoke crawled up the walls like something with memory. The house popped inside, shedding sparks through every crack. Clara ran to the door, baby in her arms. She pulled, but the latch held fast, frozen solid, coated in a thin glaze of ice that hadn't been there seconds ago. She threw her shoulder against it once, twice. Nothing. The floor behind her groaned. A shadow rose where the boards had burned away, a shape half smoke, half bone. It crawled forward slow, dragging frost with it, eyes glowing faint red beneath the haze. Each step left blackened snow where it passed, steam rising like breath from a wound. Clara pressed her back to the wall, clutching the child to her chest. The creature stopped at the center of the room, head tilted, listening. Its voice came out wrong, too deep, too soft. "Give it back." The baby whimpered, curling tighter into her shawl. Clara whispered, "It's not yours. Everything that remembers the cold is mine." It reached forward, fingers stretching, smoke curling from its skin. Flames bent away from it as if the fire itself obeyed. Clara stepped sideways, toward the window. Her hand brushed the cedar ring that still hung by the sill, blackened by smoke but unburned. She grabbed it, held it high. "Mercy keeps its promises," she said. Her voice didn't shake. The creature flinched. The flames surged back, circling it in a ring of gold. Its outline blurred, form breaking apart like ash caught in wind. Through the light, she thought she saw Elias, or what was left of him, face calm, eyes clear. He mouthed something, a single word. Run. She didn't wait. The window shattered under her shoulder. Cold air hit her face, cutting through the smoke. She fell into the snow, rolled. The baby still clutched tight. Behind her, the cabin roared once a long, low sigh, and the fire sank back into silence. She looked up. Through the drifting ash, something huge moved between the trees, not hunting, not angry, just watching. The Bigfoot mother, alive, her fur singed, her arm bound in rough bark. She took one step forward, then stopped at the tree line. The baby stirred, whimpered. Clara whispered, "Go." She set it down in the snow. It looked at her once, small eyes bright and sad, then toddled toward the shape in the dark. The mother bent, scooped it up, and for the first time that night, Clara heard a sound she couldn't mistake a heartbeat, slow and deep, echoing through the forest. The wind shifted. The smell of smoke turned clean. The trees swayed once, like nodding. Then they were gone. Clara knelt there, shaking, tears freezing to her cheeks. She whispered into the wind, "If mercy costs everything, I'll pay it again." Snow began to fall, gentle now, covering the footprints leading away from her door. By morning, no one would believe the story, but the fire's ashes still pulsed faint red, like the house was breathing in its sleep. Not all who knock are monsters. Some just want to come home. If you felt that, comment the name of your city, like this story, and rate it from 0 to 10. Subscribe, because the next fire we light won't be for warmth. It'll be to see what's watching back. Next, he built a fire to save 3. Baby Bigfoots, but the smoke drew something else.